I also recognize that I will be able to gain a first mover advantage. Idea of how to use instead 20%, spending 20% of the effort to get 80% of the results.
And how do we actually accumulate wealth is really through properties. And we often say the step-up assets progression as well.
Advocate prudency. And at the same time, to start as young as possible.
Properties are hard assets. It's something that will not go to zero. It's something that will never make you lose too much money. Welcome to Sportcast Smart Property Opportunity Talk. This is David and
I'm Audrie.
Right, together we are the real estate couple for couple, and today we have Kiap from Homely Abode with us.
Hi.
Why is it that makes you want to become a real estate consultant?
Based on my journey of property portfolio planning, I also hope that through my expertise, I can also assist other people who are at the same time probably thinking about whether they should upgrade or what other issues that they are facing that probably preventing them to take any actions. So I will be able to help them to structure their portfolio and find out what is their objective, align those objectives, and then we will move on the journey together.
Yeah. Before he's a property consultant, he actually embarked on his property journey. And let's ask him, why did he do so?
Like a lot of HDB homeowners, right? Because mine was a BTO at that point of time. Then when it was approaching MOP period, then a lot of people was like saying, hey, MOP should sell, you should sell. Then so I was wondering why. Yeah. Then I started to look into property. Coincidentally, at that age, I know that we need to stay invested.
You started really young, like 33 years old.
Yeah, about that.
33 years old.
That's quite young, yeah.
What were you doing at 33 years old? So understand that also you actually embarked from a 4-room flat straight to a new launch. Actually, what gave you the thought? Why did you think of buying a new launch instead of actually like what most people do in year 2019? A lot of people are actually buying resale.
Yeah, initially myself also I was thinking of buying resale because having a resale unit, it actually satisfies my immediate problem of accommodation. Yeah, so I didn't thought of new launch at that point of time.
So what makes you took the leap into new launches?
This one I answer for him. He met a devil, and the devil is me lah. I was actually his property consultant back then. So but no lah. Jokes aside, let Kiap, you share why do you actually embark on new launch after our discussion.
When I met David, he actually shared with me, he understand that my concern is accommodation.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people's concern also lah.
Yeah.
Where to stay after if I buy new launch and then I have to sell my house because I don't want to pay BSD. Yeah.
Yeah. Then the next thing that people are always worried is the outlay of rental. Because they thought that rental means on top of my installment I gotta pay rental as well. Yeah, so how do you overcome that?
He shared with me about progressive payment scheme for new launch. At that point of time I didn't know what was that. Then after that he did some calculation with me. He said that since I'm already prepared to pay that amount for my resale unit, might as well I use that amount to get to go for a rental. Yeah, and then at the same time I get to enjoy a whole new unit. So the calculation at the end of the day, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I see. Okay, so let's dive into what is actually progressive payment as what is actually a lump sum payment of installment.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're buying a resale, right, what happened? You got to pay
You start paying
the
like
full installment.
Yeah, full immediately. Yeah.
The full installment. Probably, at that point of time when you're buying a $1 million property, that is about $3,500 to $4,000. Yeah, but then that time interest was really low, so it's about $3,000 for the loan. Okay, but in progressive payment, what happened is you're actually paying in stages. Yeah, so whatever the developer has built, right, they will only draw out the portion on loan that is attached to the different stages.
Correct.
And most of the time, I think the loan can be covered by CPF
itself.
Yeah. And that leaves you with a bulk amount of cash, and that's what actually Kiap make use of to offset the rental, right?
And then at the same time also accumulated his CPF, right?
Yeah, CPF also accumulated. So was it easy to actually convince yourself to go into a new launch instead?
That's not difficult.
Yeah, because not difficult, you know why or not? Because he met a very nice, very, very powerful consultant.
Because like everything makes sense, and in fact by going for rental, I actually can rent the whole entire unit myself. At the same time, I also recognize that I will be able to gain a first mover advantage.
I see.
Yeah. So when I buy directly from the developer, I get the developer pricing. So when I sell it off to my next buyer, I'm actually getting off the profit from them.
Actually, what makes choosing a new launch, right, relatively easy is because difference is, when you're buying a resale, you are worried about lease decay. Yeah, so I have to say today, if you buy a 15 years old property, 5 years down the road, it's actually 20 years old. But if you're buying a brand new, right, probably 5 years old, 5 years later is 5 years old. So which one is easier to sell? So it makes very, very good sense. Okay, so not only that, I think on top of that, right, Kiap was actually also he didn't spend much time to choose a property.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember he went to one project and then he decided that it was that.
Yeah, I think that was my first show flat I went, and then that was the first project that I see and then I buy.
What makes you go into that decision? Because I remember, when you go in the first time, right, you were ready to put a check, but then you decided to go back and think through for a night, and then you came back the next day and finally sign it off.
For me, it actually everything coincides quite well. At the point of time was this unit, this project that actually appeals to both myself and my wife taste. Yeah, just nice. And then it's kind of like love at first sight. Yeah, so we didn't need to spend a lot of time to think about it. Yeah.
Okay, so but nevertheless, I think it's quite a good choice because how much gain are you sitting on right now?
Currently, I'm sitting on about at least 20%,
20%?
20 to 30%.
20-30%, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember you bought 1,004 plus PSF.
Yes.
And right now it's about close to 1,007.
Thousands, around 1,006.
1,006 plus really.
Yeah.
Okay, so over a period of 4 years, he actually made about 200 PSF of paper value because he haven't sold.
Yes.
Okay, and this is what we actually advocate because this is part of the wealth accumulation through real estate that we are working on. Yeah, and how do we actually accumulate wealth is really through properties. And we often say the step up assets progression as well. So we always believe in the fact that wealth accumulation is not by a single step. I have to say today you sell a HDB straight away I move you to a 5 million condominium, which is unless you strike Toto
Yeah, that's
no, it's quite impossible. Okay, so
yes.
Audrie, let's share what we always do to during consultation.
So we always advocate prudency. And at the same time, to start as young as possible.
Yeah.
Yes. He started young. I thought it was really good. And from here, you actually can buy a smaller one first, and then you do a step up.
Yeah.
Towards retirement itself.
Yeah, in short, we always do this. For example, Kiap actually started off with a 500,000 HDB. The next one he went into was
1 million.
1 mil. And probably the next one that he can go into or will go into is likely a 1.5 to 2 million properties. So over a various stage of his life, right, if you notice, right, his capital is always building up. His net worth is always growing.
That's before his retirement.
And that's before his retirement. Yeah, because Kiap actually has a very interesting analogy in life, which he believes in the 80-20 rule. Is it?
Yeah.
Probably you want to share what is the 80-20. Why do you actually adhere to this? Of course, this one off record is not from any books. Probably it's from some books. Okay, but it's just what he adopted.
I came across this book that is talking about this 80-20 principle. Yeah. So in fact, like for example, the average lifespan is 85 years old, right? Then I was thinking, I think our beginning years of our working life, perhaps like maybe if we start at 25, maybe we go until 40 years old.
Yeah.
Then that 15 years of our life probably marks out about 20% of our lifetime. So during this period of time, I try to accumulate as much funds or wealth as possible, or my knowledge, self-development. Then from then on, then I start to build myself. Then to slowly to enjoy the remaining 80%. This book actually shares the idea of how to use instead 20%, spending 20% of the effort to get 80% of the results.
So can I put it this way? Probably, in our lifespan, right, we have 85 years old. 85 years of lifespan. Okay, so a lot of people are working hard for the first 80% of their life just to enjoy the 20% retirement.
Yes.
And that's the norm.
Yeah.
Okay, but Kiap believe in the other way around. I had to say he wants to work 20% of his life and build up the wealth so that he can actually enjoy it for a longer lifespan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what you are doing.
Yeah.
That's a very good idea, actually.
In fact, it coincides with the graph that we actually shared the other time. The first category is actually the active income. The second one is assets income. The last one is definitely the passive income.
Yes.
And true enough, as per what Kiap said, right, between 25 to 45 years old or 50 years old, okay, that part of the life is where your active income is the strongest. And that's the way that you can actually use this active income to grow your assets income. Okay, but the real fact is which is the most risky. It's also the active income.
Yes.
Well, because a lot of
retrenchment and things like that. These are
retrenchment.
unforeseen circumstances, I would say.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why you need to have your assets income always ready so that you can, in case you lose your active income, your assets income can be turned into passive income anytime. Also, that's one of the things that we are actually doing.
So, okay, I got a big question to ask you as a real estate consultant too, and also as a new launch buyer. What do you think of the hype about new launches now? You see, there's a lot of new launches recently that was sold 90 over percent, 80 over percent, things like that.
So actually, we can look at some of the micro factors that actually affect this whole real estate situation. Perhaps like things like there will be cases like population growth in Singapore. I think the population is growing. We are actually approaching like close to 7 million by 2030. Yeah, and then also government has these new transformations and developments coming up. Like
Yes.
for example, like they just released the draft master plan for 2025. Yeah, so it's
Sembawang is not so ulu.
And Prime Minister just said those will not be so ulu places anymore next time. Yeah.
Yeah, and also we don't forget that there will be also a group of buyers that are actually HDB upgraders. So from 2024 to 2025, there are actually a lot of MOP units, close to about 17,000 MOP units in Singapore. Yeah.
That's quite a huge number.
So I feel that it's really because, yeah, you're right, man, because of population growth, which I think the ideal number is about 6.5 million by 2030.
Now we're at about 6.05. Yeah.
So this is again driving a lot of demands coming in. And of course, the never going transformation that Kiap actually say, transformation means one thing. Okay, today Singapore is not going to be flat. Okay, the economy is actually on the rise because we are actually attracting foreign talents. We are actually attracting talents from overseas, and out of which some are actually a good portion is actually students. And these students, why is it so? Because when students come in, okay, they study here, they get used to the life here.
Yes.
Eventually, they start to want to be here forever.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the main idea of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, we bring in more students.
Yeah, and the next important thing that which I think you bring up is the MOP units. The important thing is yes, there's MOP units, but if it's only MOP unit, right? I think it's not so much of a demand. But you are looking at buyers who sold off their MOP unit at good profit.
Yeah, I think the condo dream is what most Singaporeans want to achieve.
Everybody know that to grow their wealth is really buying properties lah. But then HDB is really a public housing, so actually the growth is not probably as much as what you can see private housing. Yeah, so this is what we think actually drive demands within the Singapore itself. Okay, on macro factors, the world out there,
Yeah.
why do people want to come to Singapore and buy?
We are a very stable country.
In fact, yes.
I got to say the government is working really hard to make us very secure, very financially stable.
The next thing which I think drives up the hype is also due to the progressive payment, especially for investors. Okay, I know now investors like to calculate net profit, and to get a positive cash flow, right, is really from progressive payment. Because if you're looking at 4 years to flip, right? Because last time it used to be 3 years, now it's 4 years to
Because
flip.
of seller's stamp duty.
Yeah, because of seller's stamp duty.
Correct.
Okay, then progressive payments allow you to put out lesser cash, you garner lesser interest, and so that when you sell it off, you can get a positive cash flow. So we do know that, a positive cash flow is about 3 to 4% net profit lah. Okay, but I have to put a disclaimer on this. I feel that by calculating net profit is quite unfair because it's a minimum forecast. You want to forecast this. And then we have people telling us that, oh yeah, this 3% is very low. 3% is very low because you can make more putting in financial instruments.
But for people who doesn't go into financial instruments, like what Kiap has earlier said, and for me personally, I don't go into financial instruments lah. Yeah, so
hard assets is probably safer lah.
Yeah, this feels safer for me lah.
Okay, for those who are actually has good literacy in financial investment, definitely buying stocks, bonds, and things like gives you more. However, personally, I feel that properties are hard assets. It's something that will not go to zero. It's something that will never make you lose too much money. Yeah, so this is something which I feel that in terms of investment, right, you have to balance it off. It's never all property or all stocks or bonds.
Correct.
So it's always a balance. Okay, because let's quote our Singapore, billionaire, Peter Lim. Okay, he does have a diversified portfolio. Yeah, he has sports, he has health, he has property, he has stocks, and he put eggs everywhere. But it's all well planned for. Alright. So of course what drives the last thing is because of the exit strategy. Okay, everybody when they buy new launch, right? It's also important when you're buying new launch. Okay, don't just follow the hype blindly, because when you're buying new launch, it's also very important to understand where is your exit strategy.
I think don't FOMO.
Don't FOMO.
Have a very clear mind when you go into buying a new launch also.
Yes. So everybody will say, oh, because it's new, I can exit nicely, and I have another group of buyers who can buy from me. And these buyers are people who don't want to wait.
Yep.
Okay, I don't want to wait, but I want new. Okay, so they will buy your sub-sale unit or just TOP, or the moment you can sell off, right, they'll buy from you. Okay, these are the group of additional buyers that you can actually look for. So in fact, when you're buying a new launch, right, you increase your buyers group. Yeah, you make more money in the sense that because you buy progressive payment, you don't come with so much cash. And the next one is definitely, which we all agree is really the first mover advantage. So this is a summary of that. But coming to that, does it mean that 不可以买 resale 了?
It doesn't mean that you cannot buy resale.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, with proper planning, and depends on your needs or requirements. Yeah. So how do we determine whether you are able to buy resale? Perhaps we have this system that we are using is actually called the lease reset disparity.
Okay, lease reset calculator simply just means that I reset the price of the resale property based on the lease back to a fresh new 99 years. And then you determine the PSF from there. Is it very close to the new launch, or is it a far fetch away from the new launch? Because if it's far away from the new launch, then it determines that it's actually good to buy.
Yep.
Yeah. But of course, when you're buying a resale property, it also depends on your needs. Like you mentioned, it really depends on needs. Today, do I need to stay in that place, or I don't need to stay in that place, and things like that. So this is also one important category. Do you realize something, that there's actually a price catalyst that actually boosts up the price of resale together with when the new launch is being launched somewhere?
Correct.
Yeah, for example, Emerald Katong. Okay, Emerald Katong surrounding are all
Freehold
resale
projects.
freehold.
Yes.
And if you do a calculation, right, the profit from buying a resale versus a new launch is not far. Because the price, it has a price catalyst. Okay, the moment it's launched, there has a price catalyst growth. So when you buy into it, okay, you are buying at the same price or boost that the new launch will have. And eventually when, for example, Emerald Katong start to increase price towards TOP, with buyers making a decent profit, the surrounding being freehold, good size unit, the price will also increase.
Yes.
Okay, so that's actually when the Emerald Katong is launched, right, if you are a buyer who didn't get good units, it's actually wise to get the resale. And this is just one of the many tools that we are using.
But if you are a resale buyer, don't because of what we say, this is really unique for Emerald of Katong and the surrounding areas. You have to really do your research.
Yeah.
Don't because here got one new launch, then I buy the resale here must sure make money or anything like that.
Yes.
Yeah. We look at a lot of factors also.
All right, so really thankful to have Kiap joining our session. You know, so if you guys are a brand new couple who are starting to think of whether to embark on a property journey or
Yes.
property roadmap,
Or not sure what to do.
yeah, or not sure what to do, Kiap is probably the next person that you want to talk to other than us because he has a wealth of experience and he will definitely be able to cut short your journey by telling you which pitfall to actually avoid.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's all for today.
And join us for our next podcast. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our podcast channel.
Bye.